So, I guess the obvious goof for us this time is we recorded this episode a week ago, except Ruin got to it. And obviously it was Ruin who changed the quality of the sound to sound like we had echo.
Nothing to do with a brand new mic.
Nothing to do with the new microphone that I'm not using right now. Nothing to do with the different recording setup. No. But so yeah, that happened. Didn't happen. Whatever. Jokes aside, I have a different joke.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Phineas and Ferb, but there is a very common meme online about if I had a nickel for every time blank happened, I'd have 2 nickels. And that's not a lot, but it is strange it happened twice. And in that spirit, I have to say, if I had a nickel for every time Wax shot and killed Lessie, his wife, I'd have 2 nickels. And that's not a lot of nickels, but it is strange that it happened twice.
Much better intro than the last one.
What last one? It didn't happen.
Well done, sir. Well done. Applaud.
So hello and welcome to Cosmere Casual, your casual reader's guide for the Cosmere Curious. I'm your co-host,
man with 2 nickels?
Yeah, the man with 10 cents to my name, Nick Gorman.
And I'm your co-host, AJ Gorman.
10 cents? 10 clips? No, because clips. 10 clips. There we go. Stay in the universe, Nick.
Well, was that Era 1? Are they still using clips in
They
Era 2?
are still. They're not as heavily referenced, but there are some references
Because Wax uses casings instead of clips.
Yeah. Well, and they are starting to use more banknotes, I've noticed, but it's not a huge focal point. But yeah.
Okay. Buying on credit, woo.
Yeah, so this is our post-read episode for Shadows of Self, which is Mistborn Era 2 Book 2. The Wax and Wayne series, Book 2.
I cannot remember.
5?
I cannot remember
Book
any of the names.
5 of the Mistborn series overall. I almost said 7, and I'm like, that's not right.
There's too many references to this book. It gets confusing. And you know what? If any of them come up, it's never the actual title of the book.
That's not true. Sometimes if you read about it online, people will abbreviate it to SOS, which I think is difficult, but okay. I mean, it's better than some... All right, tangent. If you are discussing the Stormlight Archive online, do not abbreviate it to SA, because that also stands for sexual assault. So, don't. If you have to abbreviate it, SLA is significantly better.
Wonderful public announcement. That's
totally
that is
unrelated
good.
to anything. Anyway, yeah, so there's what we're going to be talking about. Spoilers for Shadows of Self. So if you haven't read that, this is not the episode for you.
Too little too late. There are a lot of spoilers already.
What do you mean? Oh shit, you're right.
Okay, anyways, so this is I don't remember what time this is my reading it. Definitely not the second. I think it's maybe the third or something. But anyways, the whole time I kept trying to convince myself that I knew that the governor was Khandra all along, but I was also not sure. No, there was we see the transition, don't we? And no, we don't. We never see the transition, and it was the governor all along on screen, and that made for a very bad read with me second guessing myself the entire time. But yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I kind of like that I forget the book sometimes, because then when you reread them, it kind of feels like the first time a little bit again. But yeah, it kind of messed me up this time.
But at the same time, especially if you remember enough of the future books in the series or other series, then it's you can pick up on some of what he's laying down. So yeah,
True.
I also forgot that the governor was a Khandra.
I knew the governor was a Khandra. I forgot if we got to see him before he was a Khandra.
No, I straight up forgot. And they don't talk about this specifically as a reason for why not to be suspicious of him. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking yeah, okay, he's sabotaging all of the peace efforts, but you should never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained through incompetence. And especially in politics, hell yeah, man, he's just an idiot. Turns out he was also a bad guy.
Turns out he was a genius.
Turns out he was a shape-shifting she. Which, I don't know. This is maybe a little bit of a tangent. I do hope that at some point we get more of an explanation about gender and the Khandra because there was a very brief aside in either this book or the last book, I think it was this book, about like, yeah, it's really hard to tell the difference. It doesn't really mean very much. But at the same time, they are, like, Tensoon is strictly a he, and Palm and Milan are strictly
I'm sure Ulam
she,
will explain
and
at some
like,
point. I'm sure Ulam will explain. Let's talk about the prologue first.
Yeah.
So this, if you will recall, not to remind my memory whatsoever, this prologue kind of details that Wax and Wayne have already kind of met up, partnered up, whatever, and it's not the first time that Wax and Lessie have met up, but it is before that Lessie kind of joined the quote-unquote crew, before that they became friends or lovers. What really strikes me about this prologue is Wax seems to be pretty naive and also a terrible shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, absolutely terrible.
Yeah. And, like...
He walks into a trap.
Well, he does that multiple times in this book and the last book, but the difference is, this in the prologue...
Not
when
on
he's walking
purpose.
Back, yeah. Well, no, when he walks into a trap, not on purpose this time, right? In the prologue.
Right.
Yes. Whereas the other times, he's like, it's a calculated risk, whereas this time, he's just...
I'm just going to walk in here and ask after the person that I'm looking for.
Hey, barkeep, do you know this legendary outlaw who's got the entire town under his thumb?
Just ridiculous.
Look at my wonderful tie. I tied it myself.
But anyways, he gets better. Apparently, he becomes a better shot. We didn't get a training montage though about him becoming a better shot.
And I also wonder.
It's just kind of funny that as a coin shot, it's a terrible shot, and also. Why, as a coin shot, do you need a gun? But anyways, you are a gun.
Well, I feel like they addressed that several times. Like, he uses his gun for a lot of things that aren't coin, that things he couldn't do as a coin shot, right?
Like what?
Especially when he is filling his iron metal mines, he uses the shotgun to move around, laterally when he can't push himself up or down. Like, when he can only push.
I guess it's a kickback from the gun, not the metal leaving it. Yeah.
And there's, I don't know, he's got special, with Vindication, he's got special...
Because he names his guns.
Yeah. He's got the special bullets. And also, like, let's not forget, like, there are times that he just doesn't have steel pushing readily available, right? It's having guns is another tool in the tool belt.
Sure.
Makes sense to me.
I suppose. Just seems weird. But anyways, this prologue is really kind of focusing on the relationship between Wax and Lessie. Supposedly, they're both after the same bounty. Lessie is actually working for Granite Joe.
But also
not working for Granite Joe, so...
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Line from Blues Brothers. She's on a mission from God.
But she is.
She's on a mission from God.
Yes, she is. So... Wax walks himself into a trap with Lessie because the Wax is now caught between Lessie and Granite Joe, and all that Wax can say in his defense to try to win Lessie over in that moment is, "I still think your legs are pretty." And Lessie's response is, "That's all you could come up with to win me over? You have nice legs? Seriously? You are so doomed up here, Cravat."
I mean, but at the same time, like, it's part of his whole shtick, and he's been, and several times in that chapter, he's talking about how important it is to have a thing, a shtick, right?
Okay, but saying you have nice legs is not his shtick.
No, but being a naive, lovable goofus, I don't know.
Well, I guess that's the difference between how he started and where he ends up, because that's definitely not his Dawn shot reputation for later on, but it does seem like, according to this prologue, him being a lovable doofus was kind of a thing.
He was so style over substance in the beginning.
I guess you have to be until you have the experience.
Until you have the substance.
What I just don't get is him
striking a pose.
So Lessie kills Granite Joe, and then he poses over Granite Joe, and the thugs leave. And just like that, I mean, I don't see how posing and looking triumphant works to get the other guys to leave. That's just not believable to me.
Yeah, but it's the same way that it's aura farming, as the kids say.
I have not heard this term.
It's
aura farming.
Aura farming. So let me let me explain to all of you old people out there.
As a youngin' yourself.
No, as an old man myself. I mean, to have aura is very similar to having riz or charisma, in that it's you have a strong presence.
So reputation building.
It's reputation building. But in particular, like, aura farming is like when you do something that doesn't really make sense, but you do it for the rule of cool, right? And it's especially like in movies and TVs and, anime and D&D shit, right? Where you make a dramatic entrance and the 3-point superhero landing.
So is that what our children do? When they bang open doors and take their shirts off? They
Absolutely.
do it for the aura farming? There's no reason to take your shirt off.
No.
There's just no reason.
Well, and there's no reason for the mist cloak. Other than...
No, there is absolutely no reason for the mist cloak. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no logical reason to have tassels that'll just fly in your face.
I'm not disagreeing with you on the merits. I'm disagreeing with you on the vibes. It's the rule of cool, right? And B Money thinks it's cool, and a lot of the fandom
B
agrees.
Money is wrong.
Okay,
he is wrong.
Okay.
Now Cloak, give me a Stormlight Cloak. That's cool. Mistborn Cloak, absolutely not.
No capes.
Okay, let's move on to some characters. So, just to be super, super clear about this, Lessie is also Bleeder, who is also Palm.
Who is also the governor.
Who, yes. So
Governor
that is all one being. So yeah. The original name of this creature is Palm. She was the Lord Ruler's kind of pet. So she was the Khandra that would go and shapeshift and do whatever the Lord Ruler wanted, all of his dirty work. She would operate independently. She wouldn't really interact a whole lot with other Khandra.
And I would assume most of that was not deep cover, get a crush on somebody. It was more, I don't want to say traditional espionage, but more, I'd imagine it's more put down this rebellion, we're going to have this person killed and you'll take their place, right? For a bit.
Or at least interacting with horrible human beings.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was Palm's kind of history. And then, Sazed took up the reins of God and took up ruin and preservation. And all of the Khandra kind of just reaffirmed their devotion to Sazed, or harmony.
Down to the river, and they were born again. They were born again in the image of whatever they want, because they're not humans, they're Khandra.
So Palm also did this. So she was on a mission from God for harmony to kind of be close to Wax in the disguise of Lessie.
Yes.
So this was a long con.
Deep cover. Not a con. I mean, yes, a con. But
yes. So we get to see the beginning of that con kind of in this prologue, or at least soon after the beginning, because Wax saw
that instance when she was
Lessie,
a horrible dancer.
Yes, in a house of ill repute. And they were, it got to the point where, Lessie and Wax got married and had lots of marriage years as well. After that point, the relationship between, and then Harmony ordered Lessie to allow herself to be killed, or to look like, because you can't really kill a Khandra that easily, so she had allowed herself to be shot and then play dead.
I don't know, man. I still have a lot of questions about that. Because it's not like we see what happens there. I mean, we know that Harmony influenced her. I don't know.
Oh, we don't know if it was Harmony's doing that she got shot?
I mean, no, that's pretty clear. Everybody blames Harmony, and Harmony doesn't seem to care. I'm thinking more along the lines of, like, we don't know, sometimes if she's subject to Harmony's control, I don't know that there's any telling involved, right? Because he can just take over, right? So
that's not the way the other Khandra talk about getting communication from Harmony, though.
Yeah. But, we also, like I said, we don't know. There's so much we don't know. I don't understand Bloody Tan, right? Because he was making a lot of the same points that Bleeder is making in this book, right?
Right.
Somebody else moves us, lawman. And I don't know if it was, if they were going after Bloody Tan specifically for Lessie to die, or was it that Harmony saw the opportunity that, they're going after this crazy guy. She's been taken captive. I'm just going to nudge her. I'm just going to make her twitch right when Wax shoots, right? Because, I mean, it's not like, think about the lifestyle that he led. It's not like there's a shortage of opportunities to kill Lessie.
That's true.
So it's like, I don't know.
Well, anyways, so Harmony tells Lessie to kind of fake die. And then from there, the relationship between Palm and Leslie and Harmony is kind of broken at some point, and Palm starts calling herself Bleeder. So that's why there's about 4 different names that you have to keep track of for this one individual.
I'm sure it's really easy to keep track of someone's identity when they change their name, when they change their face, when they change what allomantic powers they have or favorite chemical, and change their personality.
I did want to go over that in case anybody was confused.
Yeah.
Because I think it took a couple reads for me to really cement that in my brain. You know what's really aggravating?
A lot of things.
Wax thought of everyone being replaced by a Kandra except the governor.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't either.
It was kind of short-sighted of him to think that way. But, it was short-sighted of him to think that way when dealing with a frickin' immortal.
An immortal shapeshifter.
An immortal shapeshifter.
Yeah.
But, if anything, immortal, if anything from our history, our world history of literature and all that stuff, immortals play a long game. And Wax didn't seem to take that into consideration.
Up until until the end of the book, it took him a couple days to catch up to speed. The whole book is only covers 4 days or something. Yeah,
and most of it's within
two.
Yeah.
There was something we talked about in the Lost recording that I don't know if it's just later on in your notes. I don't remember, but how Bleeder's relationship with the Lord Ruler gets paralleled on multiple layers with Wax.
Please go on.
Okay, yeah. We know that Palm was especially close with the Lord Ruler, and Lord Ruler came to count on her and rely on her for all sorts of things, right? In a similar way, she became, by accident, by fate, by sheer moxie, really enamored with Wax, right? But then in this book, when she stages the rebellion, the insurrection, she does so in such a way that it mirrors or is strongly reminiscent of the night that Kelsier's rebellion overthrew the Lord Ruler. And drawing those parallels where, on the one hand, yes, the governor is, in one sense, the literal head of the government, but the Lord Ruler fulfills, but Wax fulfills a lot of the same role in suppressing or trying to suppress the revolution in the same way that the Lord Ruler did.
Okay,
right?
So we're getting a similar story, but instead of the Lord Ruler, you have Wax, and instead of Kelsier, we have Bleeder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's parallels there.
No, that makes sense, because, in both cases, they're trying to incite a riot. We have very different outcomes to these stories. Kelsier successfully did that riot, and in this version, Bleeder was stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, but it is interesting that, it's okay, well, but in both cases, the governor, the head of the government dies. There's a changeover in power that leads to the peasants having more of a say in government.
Mm-hmm.
There's, the rebellion wasn't, hot take, it wasn't all bad.
This CR2 rebellion.
To be fair, both of them, they weren't all bad.
Well, we did get, Arundel or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the Constable General.
Good guy. Okay, backing it up a little bit, just to follow my notes, because that's
back it up.
Going back to, let's point out some more of the obvious clues that the governor was a Kandra all along, in case you missed them. As you mentioned, Nick, if you actually look at the actions of the governor, they are inciting riots and all of this stuff.
Deepening the tensions. And no good head of government would try to deepen instability as it's going on, right?
Okay, all right, let's not get into it.
Oh, sorry.
Marassi actually notes that. Like, she points out that innate speeches are, just serve to irate the crowds. So she points that out directly. You'll also notice that Bleeder, who is orchestrating things behind the scenes, was forced to use hemalurgy to incite the riot at the governor's speech because she was too busy being the governor.
Yes, and I still didn't put that together, that she had to hemalurgically influence somebody else into making the assassination attempt until after I'd finished reading this third read of the book for me. So, good for you. Good for you pointing that out.
Keep in mind that while all of this is playing out, there are some things that we are not made aware of. One of them is that Harmony is talking to Bleeder. So if you recall from Era 1, Ruin has the power to kind of put thoughts into people's heads. Preservation had the power of being able to listen to people's thoughts. Harmony, being of both Ruin and Preservation, can both talk to you and listen to your thoughts.
Specifically when you have a hematological spike, right?
Yeah.
We see in Era 1 a lot in particular where people stop being subject to Ruin's influence at all after they get the spike out.
Correct. So more explanation. So Khandra normally have 2 spikes. That's how they kind of exist. They have 2 spikes and they are hemalurgic creatures. So
they start their life cycle as a mist wraith, little disgusting blobs of
unintelligible
carrion feeders, and then at some point, presumably another Khandra puts 2 hemalurgic spikes in them.
And there's a new generation because they do this in large groups.
Ritualistically.
Yes.
And then you got a Khandra.
Yes. So Harmony is able to completely control Khandra against their will when they have 2 spikes. Bleeder, or Palm, she took out one of her spikes. So that's why this Khandra is going haywire, because Harmony can't really control or understand or see what Bleeder is doing.
I still don't think that's the whole story.
That's what we're told.
We're told that that's why she's insane. But I don't think that makes sense, because then when she wanted to swap out spikes,
she would have had to turn into
a mist wraith. And we know that you can't do hemalurgy by accident. It requires intent, right? So she either had an accomplice every time she was changing spikes, or we also see right at the very end that she had a spike made of some unknown metal.
Metal of a different god.
Yes. And presumably that interferes with Harmony's stuff.
We'll talk about that more in the Cosmere episode. But all this is to say is that Bleeder has at least 1 spike in her. And you'll recall that there's a conversation that when Wax finds Bleeder kind of out on the street, she was in a window, they're having a conversation. And then at some point, Bleeder says, "I wasn't talking to you that time, Waxilium." That is to point out to the fact that Harmony is talking to Bleeder. So Harmony is able to kind of put thoughts into Bleeder, but not able to hear thoughts back. So Brandon always has other things, he always has other things going on that he purposely does not make us aware of.
You might say that there's always another secret.
There's always another secret, and this is a little reference to the fact that Brandon has thought about what all of the players are doing, and that this is a little window to see that, Harmony is trying to do something and is having conversation with Bleeder. We are just not privy to the contents of that conversation.
Hey, you know what she says in her prayers, that's between her and God.
Yeah, okay. I guess the other thing that I just wanted to mention is that at one point, the other Khandra, they want to treat Bleeder with kid gloves and be completely underestimate Bleeder. They're all fools because Bleeder knew just how to manipulate all the other Khandra. So Tensoon and Harmony are other fools for underestimating her.
They were certainly complacent.
Yes. Just to wrap up Bleeder as Bleeder character arc, she chooses to commit suicide rather than be under Harmony's thumb.
And
which is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and I didn't fully appreciate that on my first 2
It's easy to miss. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. It's in the emotional unwinding. So it's just like it. To me, the first time I read this, I was like, oh, great. She's going to the farm upstate. And they're gonna rehabilitate her or something. She might come back in a future. No. And that's the whole point of the Chekhov's gun, where Tensoon talks about how the second generation were all able to unwind themselves rather than serve harmony, and they developed this process so that way, in case Ruin for some reason ever tried to take them over again, they wouldn't be just pulling out their spikes. They'd be able to have a more permanent solution,
permanent end.
And you're right. That is kind of sad. I mean, she was only like 1,000 years old. She was 1,000 years young. She still had a whole lot of life to live.
It is sad. Anytime somebody decides to commit suicide.
It is true. And especially the circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's turn the conversation a little bit to talk about Bleeder and Wax. I have on here that Wax, someone else moves this law, man. That's what Bloody
Tan says.
Yeah.
And that's also something that Bleeder says over and over again, where she's talking about harmony. Somebody else moves us, lawman. Yes. And for her, and in my head canon, Bloody Tan also, they are being influenced
by somebody we don't know. Like, where did they both get that common idea from?
Yeah. Well, and we know we know a little bit more about, we know what it means when Bleeder says it, right? Because she feels like a marionette, on the strings.
Because God or Harmony can literally manipulate her like a puppet.
Yeah. And I don't know that Bloody Tan was a conjurer, but I suspect he was.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure why he would say those things to Wax, but I mean, he played a big role in getting Wax back to Ellendale, and we know that something killed. Maybe they were all conjured. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe they were all conjured too. Whatever.
I don't think so. I think there's something There's definitely something happening, but
yeah, and maybe I don't know. There's something there. I mean, maybe he was spiked with that same metal that Bleeder had, so he was getting some So they're talking to me through the radio in my brain.
Yes.
Maybe something like that. I don't know.
I mean, we saw that before with
in Era 1, yeah.
With Vin's mom.
With Vin's mom, with the governor of Fadric City.
Yeah, well, Ruin paying particular attention and driving them crazy.
Yeah. And it wasn't always constant. It was just some little nudges here and there.
Yeah. Another element to kind of Wax and Lessie is at some point Wax says, "I've never killed a man who didn't deserve it." But I'm like, but you killed Lessie.
Not a man.
Not a man.
Also,
I don't know. That's a very profound statement to make with having killed your wife with a gun. But
I was about to say, and he's very flippant, right? Like, he kills so many minions, right? And he even talks to Wayne about Wayne could have been one of those. The only difference was that he had already thrown down his gun and wasn't gonna hurt Wax.
Yeah.
But maybe 10 minutes earlier, maybe.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, you would have deserved it, but you didn't, so you didn't. I'm like, you're very
wishy-washy.
Oh, no, he's not wishy-washy. Well, not wishy-washy enough. He's very into summary executions.
Okay.
I am the law. Wait a minute, that's the Skybreakers.
Wrong series.
Or Judge Dredd. Also wrong series.
Anyways, that statement just really annoyed me as a reader because I was just like that. Anyways.
I wonder if I can insert a clip from the Anthrax song. Anyway.
Another thing that was kind of catching on my brain is I think Bleeder wanted to be caught on some level.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely on purpose leaving clues for Wax. I think Wax, I mean, there was definitely kind of the pages and the catacombs that was meant to kind of distract Wax. I don't know if she actually thought that would distract him fully or not. But there was also kind of forgetting the names of the children when she was pretending to be the guy who destroyed the dam.
I don't think that was fully on purpose, right? Because, she's going from being an agent, right, where she does things on behalf of somebody else and presumably with support, to putting together a very ambitious plan and executing it almost entirely by herself. Maybe with some help from the set, but they were also they didn't want to be too closely tied to her. So I'm not...
That's some very basic information, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Even if the man's family came to visit him in jail or whatever, or see in the courtroom, you think that she would have picked up on some of the names, but she chose not to seek out that information. I don't know. I think that was a clue.
Yeah.
It seems like a very sloppy mistake for an immortal to make who's been imitating people.
Yeah, well, but on the same point, I could see why she would want to set up that confrontation between Wax and herself, especially on her own terms, right? Because she's still in love with Wax, so she wants as many opportunities as she can to win him over. But also, I thought I found the confrontation between her and Kelsier with the incredible displays of steel, allomancy, whatever. It was a little bit reminiscent, not super reminiscent, but a little bit reminiscent of the confrontation between Kelsier and the Lord Ruler in the streets that ends in Kelsier's death, right? Because they have that chase through the streets also, right? I know there wasn't too much chasing going on with Kelsier, and when it was with the Steel Inquisitor, and it was slightly more decapitation oriented. Anyway,
God, I hate Mistborn. So violent.
Well, and do we want to talk about the body horror in this book?
I'd really rather not. I hate body horror.
Yeah,
I think we should definitely talk about how I still just don't understand what makes Wax so special. Why this creature of 1,000 years, tens of thousands of years, what have you, fell in love for the first time with Wax. Doesn't make sense.
I don't think it needs to make sense. Love doesn't make sense.
I suppose.
But, even if you wanted it to make sense, like I said, I don't see any reason why the Lord Ruler would want somebody under deep cover for so long.
Yeah,
right?
That's the only way I can make sense of it, is if this was like the first decent assignment where she got to be around a halfway decent human being.
For a very, very long time, right?
Even 10 years is not that long for an immortal.
But if like I said, I just don't see the Lord Ruler as having any interest in protecting anybody other than himself, and he didn't need it, right? So so to me, this was almost certainly her first assignment that would have warranted anything longer than however long it takes to put down a rebellion, which, I don't know, maybe a month, right? So from that perspective, it could be orders of magnitude.
It's very ambitious.
He had many tools at his disposal.
He did, yeah.
Emphasis on disposal. So I'm just like, to me, it's just like, yeah, this was probably the first time she formed that kind of a connection, right?
Probably. It just doesn't make my head happy. But it was suitably traumatic for the end of the relationship because, of course, he shot Leslie in the head once, supposedly killed her, and then had to do the same exact thing again, shoot her in the head.
And, again...
super traumatizing for Wax. Super traumatizing.
Again, crucial information was withheld by Harmony in both cases. The same information that Harmony wants him to shoot his wife, right? In the first instance, it's because he doesn't know that for whatever reason the bullet is going to be guided into her head, whether that's through controlling her twitching or whatever. And in the second instance, it's because Harmony withheld the information that Bleeder was also Leslie. Always had been.
Yeah.
It is very bad. Bad Harmony. Shame on you.
God is not always benevolent.
Not that one.
Okay.
The greater good.
Enough about them. I wanna detour a little bit, talk about Mr. Suit. Mr. Suit, otherwise known as Edward, otherwise known as Uncle Edward. So Wax's uncle.
Edward. It bothers me that it ends with an N, but that is how it is spelled.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Uncle Adrian.
So in the first chapter or something, we get to see that the governor's brother is holding this soiree of all the disreputable folk to kind of auction off favor or whatever.
He's putting himself on auction.
Very notably, Mr. Suit has not shown up. So that is our very first clue that Mr. Suit and or his organization are aware that something is going to go down at that party and purposely did not show up.
He's in on the grift.
Yes. So Mr. Suit knows about this, and his organization's actually working with Bleeder. We know this because of Wax's meeting with his uncle, and just randomly they get to meet randomly in the middle of the book. Okay, and it's upsetting to me as like a book. Like, we didn't really, except for that little tidbit of information, there wasn't a whole lot of point to those two meeting. I mean, if you step back and think about it, like, Wax has been searching for his uncle for like months and months.
And they even address that in like chapter 2 or whatever, where he's run into dead ends. He can't get on his uncle's
and he's
trail.
Very frustrated by it. And then this whole thing happens, and in the middle of it, he's just like, I'm going to send a note to my uncle and say I want to meet. And then he fucking shows up. And I was like, what?
Like, why were you running into dead ends if you literally had his contact info?
Yeah. So
like at the very least, you could have set up a sting or something, ruse.
In retrospect, it didn't really make sense.
From a plot perspective, I think I agree with you, but like from an overall book perspective, it's like, no, that does a lot for the characterization, and we know, it almost serves as a reminder that like, oh hey, Uncle Edwin is still here, still a major player in the. He's
been in the background, but he is an important player for the entire series.
Well, and like if you think about if that hadn't happened, and then the set showed up at the end with the Soothers and Rioters, you'd be like, why are we just seeing the set now for the first time, right? In the book, And I think that it was a nice way to have the jog down memory lane, back further than. Leslie, right, to Wax's childhood, to see him as a rebellious kid, right? Because you've seen him, because now we have another.
Because this is the flashback to when his uncle brought him to the bank and tried to give a poor person an invaluable coin.
Yeah, and then
it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, don't you know they're poor because they deserve it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not. His name isn't Ayn Rand, but. I don't need to finish the sentence.
Okay. Actually, I kind of like it. I like Ayn Rand. The audiobooks are nice to listen to. I can see your points about, like, I can understand why narratively it makes sense in some ways, but definitely doesn't make sense in others. But what we do learn is that the set and Bleeder are working together, but Mr. Suit is very reluctant to do so. So we learn that Mr. Suit, while in a top position in the organization, he does not make decisions unilaterally.
And he is not the top person.
Correct. Which is good information for us to know. Going back to the coin, the whole coin flashback reminded me of The Wolf of Wall Street and Sell Me This Pen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of the lesson that Edwin is trying to teach Wax is
the young master.
You need to create a need and then sell to that need. It forces Wax to think of his place in the world, and it definitely served Bleeder's purpose, because I think Bleeder had put in that coin for Wax to find in his coat pocket or something, or no, left it in a note in one of the people she killed. I think left it for Wax to find.
Well, and that almost makes me wonder, like, was she intending for him to get, like, was that another instance of her trying to sidetrack him?
I think that's for multiple purposes. It was to sidetrack him, but it was also for Wax to second guess his place in the world and second guess Harmony.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's all for Fruit Suit for
that Bleeder, always thinking.
She was always
really always using her noggin.
Why is that funny?
Because she got shot there twice, rather fatally.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not fatally. The shot was... Anyway, whatever.
Definitely not the first time she was faking it.
Yeah.
And then the second time either. The shot had nothing to do with her dying. That was...
Not nothing. But yes, I get it.
Done with Mr. Suit for now. We'll come back to Mr. Suit in future episodes. Let's talk a little bit about my favorite man, Wayne.
Adelin's right there. Oh, sorry. Right over there, one series over.
That's true. Adelin is there. He's a great himbo.
Anyways, Wayne's not bad. I like Wayne too.
We get to see Wayne in his element, kind of the beginning of the book, where he gets information where Wax and Marasi just epically fail. He's the one who catches marks.
Well, and also he's the one who gets to the governor first.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. He is the brains behind the operation. Often
he's the better detective. Objectively, he's the better detective between the two of them.
Yep.
I'd say Marasi is still better than Wayne. They have different strengths, but yeah, he actually asks people questions. He doesn't just go in and do. He's not just really good at shooting people. He's not good at shooting people at all.
Yeah, he's really not good. He can't even hold the gun anymore. Speaking of that, so the reason why Wayne can't hold the gun is because the first time that he kind of used a gun, he accidentally, because did he mean to fire the gun and kill the man he was trying to rob?
He's not the most reliable of narrators about this incident, right? This is a deep core trauma for Wayne. Right, and so I don't remember what he says. Frankly, he should say both things because he's very confused about the whole event.
At the end of the day, he shot a man, killed him,
and deeply regretted
it. So he kind of does repentance. The way that he deals with it is that he gives any money that he can to the family of the man that he shot and killed.
Yeah, and it's very reminiscent of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, right, where her response to it is she is so upset about the source of the money. She takes.
So this is the daughter of the family of the man who is, because of Wayne's kind of financial things, is able to attend a big fancy university. But Wayne insists on hand delivering the money to the daughter on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
The whole exchange is distressing on both ends. Wayne goes to so much extremes to kind of avert security and to try to, physically get next to the daughter. The daughter is very harsh on Wayne and makes him feel bad. And the whole thing is
real fucked up.
The whole thing is real fucked up, and Wayne insists on doing it rather than just sending the money.
Right. And
even though it causes the girl so much distress to do it that way.
Well, and he's
compounding the pain.
Yeah, for both of them, right? And he's so blinded not just by his guilt but by his shame about the event that he continues to make it worse for both of them. And I think that's a very I see that, and it's it feels real to me. I hate that chapter, but it feels more real than most anything else about Wayne.
Because we humans are not great at being human.
Yeah. I think Murderbot is much better at being human. But that's a different series over that way. And Murderbot would not like anybody saying that. Anyway.
Murderbot is not a human. I don't really want to talk about Wayne and Renette. That's also a fucked up relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, the whole thing kind of gives me the ick where...
Renette is a lesbian.
Yeah. And she and Wayne keeps harassing her, because he thinks that she's so great and so attractive. He loves a woman that smells like guns. Right? It smells real,
even though he doesn't like guns.
Yeah,
it's so fucked up.
Well, right, and again, if you think about him being so ashamed and self-destructive about it, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But his refusal to take a no is so icky. It's so I don't like it.
Yeah. His relationship with the only somewhat okay relationship that he has with the woman is probably Marasi, because the thing that upsets me the most is how mean Wayne is to Steris.
Yeah.
I mean, just horrible to her. He purposely sits away from her next to the mean guards and spend any amount of time with her. And I almost don't get the animosity, but I also get it because Wayne is so upset that Wax is going to marry her, but it's not Steris's. It shouldn't be Steris that he's mad at, and maybe it's not Steris that he's mad at, but he can't be mad at Wax. So Steris is his only option to take out his anger and frustration.
Right, and I think we talked about this in our Lost episode. I'm 90% sure Wayne hasn't had the space to grieve Lessie. right? He hasn't had the capacity to, right?
Yeah, we never, like, Brandon never clues us into that, the relationship between Leslie and Wayne.
But like, we know that they were friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the three of them.
Yeah. And
how could they not be close?
Right. And yeah, and you know, as heartbroken as Wax is about Leslie, and he is, right? We don't see Wayne express his grief on the page in the same way that we do for Wax, right? So to me, like, that doesn't make it right that he's, you know, such a dick to Steris. And I mean, also, it's not like he's, I don't know, to me, like, if I compare his relationship with Steris versus Renette, like, I am way more uncomfortable about the relationship with, you know, the constant harassment of Renette.
Because at least they're, you know, both agree where they both stand, whereas with Renette, that's not the case.
Well, and like, even with Renette, like, she has already escalated her nose to the point of shooting him, right? You cannot get a much stronger no than that, and he still does not fucking get it. Does not respect her no, right?
All right.
With Steris, like, there's at least a little bit of like, all right, we see where we are. Feelings kind of mutual a little bit. Steris is more open to, you know,
being friendly.
To being friendly, but like, it's not, you know, it's not subtle, right?
Right. I want to take a little bit of time, kind of reflect on the history of the eras and kind of connections to others. Or do you have more to say on Wayne?
Not on Wayne necessarily, but Milan, I think, is.
I have that after.
Oh, we're gonna take a break from character arcs.
Yes. So down in the catacombs, we have kind of creatures that come after Wax and Tensoon, and those scenes in particular really reminded me of the Hunger Games, you know, having augmented kind of human wolf creatures kind of attacking characters. I hate it because it's gore and violence and
body horror.
Horror. But it definitely fits in with the whole Spikes and Koloss things, and it was a good reminder of the capability of the magic system that we hadn't really seen up until that part with the story.
I'm still working on, like, I don't know. I've got an idea that I need to, like, flesh out, but it seems to me like there's the hemalurgical constructs, like, especially these guys, like, they're zombies, right? They're zombie stand-ins, right? And Kandra are body snatchers, and Koloss are ogres, right? Like, I'm wondering when we're going to get a vampire hemalurgical construct, right? Where so much of what they do is about, you know, seducing and, you know, putting you under their power, right?
Like Milan?
Maybe. But I mean, she's less, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see her as particularly vampiric.
Yeah.
And like,
more of a siren.
Yeah. And yeah, like to me, it's just like, I read the scenes in the catacombs, and I'm like, oh, this is Dawn of the Dead or Shaun of the Dead. Where you've got a small band of plucky protagonists and then a horde of zombies coming after.
And we each read different things.
True.
How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Also in the catacombs, we get to kind of see Wax climbing up the pits of Hassan, which was a nice callback to Era 1 without it having to be the exact same story or experience, because we had not seen somebody chase somebody out of the pits of Hassan before.
Well, and I guess just to maybe tie that even more, right? When you think about what zombie stories are trying to tell, it's usually about the, like, on a literary level, like there's usually themes about the dangers of the unwashed masses, basically, right?
Like hygiene?
Well, like mob mentality and
okay.
mob mentality, like the dangers of that, right? That, like Dawn of the Dead, like I talked about, like it takes place in a mall, and it's an allegory for mindless consumerism, right? There were lots of zombie movies during the Red Scare, and there was a lot of stuff about several of them were, as best I understand it, supposed to be about be scared of the communists, basically. And here in this book, that is one of the big themes, is there is a brewing underclass uprising, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Wax's reaction to that is he feels bad about shooting the hemalurgic constructs, but he does it. And I don't know, there's a there. I'm having a hard time articulating it, but like he Wax as a character is reluctant, but still able and ultimately willing to put down the common person.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, kind of somewhat similar to Kelsey, or in the kind of blasé of killing. Definitely agree.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, kind of Wax. Similar to what I was saying with Harmony talking with Bleeder, and us not kind of being aware of that. That same thing is still happening with Wax. Harmony is still manipulating Wax, even if it's not kind of a direct conversation. I'm going to read a quote here directly from the book. "A new scent struck him, crushed blossoms. In the darkness of that chamber, he imagined himself again standing among the trees of the terrace village, looking up at a broken window and feeling the bullet in his hand, and he smiled. Once that memory had brought him pain, the pain of isolation. Now he saw only a budding lawman, remembered the sense of purpose he'd felt. He almost wanted to believe the sense to the room the memories were his grandmother's doing. Who knew what she put in that tea?" So that's the end quote. But I believe it was Harmony that kind of sent that scent to him, trying to kind of strengthen his pawn. So there are little moments like that are easy to miss on the first read, but as you do more reads, I think you'll catch little moments like that where Harmony is kind of nudging here and there.
I think you're wrong about Wax, AJ. He's not Harmony's hands. He's his sword.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, different quote.
But anyways, I think when I said this to you last time, I think you said you hadn't noticed that.
I definitely had not noticed that. No, but what you're saying makes sense. That I mean, it is Harmony trying to nudge in whatever way he can.
Yeah, and I definitely want to point this out, for you to notice on rereads, but also for you to have this knowledge going into the next book, because I think acknowledging these little nudges from Harmony is an important background information for moving forward.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now Milan.
Oh yeah. I like Milana's character. I think she's a great
comic relief.
Yeah, I mean, but I think she makes a great pairing, a complement to Wayne. I don't know if I would use compliment in the traditional sense where it's like a yin yang kind of a thing, because there are a lot of similarities. Yeah, they are very similar, but I do think like he has a healthy relationship with a female presenting person, right?
Yes, I would. Yes,
it eventually
very accurate. Yes, a
like,
female presenting person.
Wait,
yes,
like not a girl. Good Place reference. Not a girl, but
Good Place.
The Good Place.
Not a girl. I don't remember it.
Janet keeps saying,
"Oh,
not a girl.
Okay.
Not a girl." Anyway, but like, I did think some of the interactions between her and Wayne were a little sycophantic.
I mean, Milan is all about Wayne. Very impressed with Wayne, and Wayne could not care less.
I don't think he could not care less. I think he's loving the attention, loving it.
I don't know.
But I don't think he fully recognizes it as... Well, because like he goes on and on. Like they go really deep on accents and shit with her, right?
I mean, I think he's enjoying the kind of the in-depth conversation about like
enjoying the attention.
And yeah, but I don't think he cares that much about Milan herself. She just used those pronouns.
No, that's fair. I mean, and yeah,
I do think that Milan is fascinated with Wayne.
Yes. And I like, what do I like about Milan's appearance in this book?
That she has large boobs?
All right, well, boobs are fun, whatever. But no, although there was a...
She likes attention for her looks, but she doesn't look for attention in other ways.
Yeah. Well, and to me, like her, her appearance like that, intentionally making herself so busty, right? To me, that's like she's trying to control where people's attention is drawn, right? And so that way she can get away with shit, right?
I don't think that was the explanation she gave.
No.
But that's a very generous assumption.
Generous like her breasts. Anyway, no, but I'm the introduction to her. I'm reminded of that scene from Lilo and Stitch where Lilo is praying, please send me an angel, please, whatever. And then
Wax did ask for help from Harmony.
Yep.
And then Milan shows up, a gift from God.
So yeah. No, I mean I like goofy comic relief characters.
Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit weird, just like
a little bit.
I mean, like Kandra is like Harmony's only card. It seems like because he sent a Kandra to kind of help control Wax with Lessie, and then that turned bad. So then he sent Wax another Kandra, like
more than one, because there was also Tensoon.
Yeah, so it's just like okay, so you're
the crowd control folks, and
did you learn nothing?
No, no.
I mean, I guess it's a little different this time because Wax knows that it's a Kandra.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he was going to send the
but
Koloss.
I know, but he just keeps sending Kandra, and hoping for better results.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm trying to think about what other tools in the tool belt you would have if you were Harmony. I mean, I think a lot of that gets sort of
another human. I don't know, like
yeah.
A thing to point out,
he could have sent Marsh, right? And that wouldn't that be interesting? Because he did at the end of Alloy of Law, right?
He did. I don't think Brandon wanted Marsh to steal the scene.
Yeah, well, and
steal the book.
And from a perspective, from a literary perspective, it is like, okay, yeah, this is a book that is in a lot of ways about the Kandra and Bleeder / Lessie / Wax. They're how they interact, right?
Right. Because we didn't like in Era 1, we didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with the Kandra. A little bit, we only really got to interact with one Kandra. We only got to interact with Tensoon. I mean, Orsor a little bit, but then there was kind of change.
I don't know. Book 3, there was that whole, I don't know whether it was the C plot line, but it was Tensoon's trial, basically.
That's true.
Imprisonment and trial.
But
that's where we got introduced to Milan the first time.
Oh, she was the one that freed Tensoon, wasn't she?
Yeah.
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 Good callback.
She and Tensoon, they're
Tensoon's like a father figure to her, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just a quick mention. Kandra tend to have like a lot, but not all Kandra names tend to have a double vowel somewhere in there. So Palm had 2 A's. Milan has 2 A's. And there also tends to be kind of a capital letter
in
the middle.
Palm does not have the capital letter. If you're an audiobook reader, you wouldn't know these things.
Or Sir, the S is capitalized in the middle of that word.
Yeah, but there's no double vowel.
Yeah, but those are the 2 indicators. Like if you ever in the rest of the Cosmere or whatever, you come across either a name with a double vowel or a name with a capital letter in the middle of it, or both of those things occurring, it's a pretty good indicator that is a Kandra.
Also the shape-shifting.
Yeah, if you have a character.
The mortal shape-shifting.
Yeah, pretty good indicator.
Yeah, or like having a crystal skull.
True body. That's called a true body.
Okay, yeah. True body, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, back to characters. Marasi?
Do you think... Whatever. I was going to have some speculation, and speculation fits best under a Cosmere Connections episode, but I'm going to go for it anyway, because they did talk about it briefly.
Out with it, man.
Do you think a Kandra could make a true body out of somebody's metal mines, right? Like if Wax filled a whole bunch of iron metal mines with extra weight or something.
If it was unkeyed... Well, I mean, he couldn't use it, but
they wouldn't be able to use it. But I mean, like, it would have advantages. Like we see in Era 1, we see the true bodies have some issues when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, right? Because they were made out of more fragile materials, right? But a iron true body would both be hard as iron and also resistant to investiture type stuff.
I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah, I think the Kandra should get on that.
Maybe they will. We have many more eras to explore. Marasi.
My favorite fictional statistician.
Poor Marasi. She's doing all this detective work on her time off.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't work on your time off.
She's not an ideal
worker bee.
Worker. She's doing all this detective time on her. So at the end, in the first book, she's going through law school. at the beginning of this book, we find out that she's finished law school, but instead of like becoming a lawyer or going into politics, she has decided to become the personal assistant, I don't know, whatever.
Basically like the deputy for the Constable General.
The deputy for the Constable General.
His executive assistant.
So she's gone into law enforcement.
Yes.
Which is a dramatic shift, but probably heavily influenced by Wax and Wayne, of course. And of course she was reading all about Wax and Wayne for forever. So of course she falls back on Wax and Wayne when she's off duty and doing dangerous stuff.
But also, they're allowed to be friends.
But they're allowed to be friends.
Friends and like also future in-laws.
And they are allowed to have shared hobbies, and they definitely have shared hobbies of going after bad guys, for lack of a better term. But of course Marasi, again, poor Marasi, she becomes captive again. But this time she is able to kind of shoot the person's head off. Yeah. Which is also traumatic. But also, like, there is kind of, it is nice to see her character progression, that in the same situation she has grown. She's able to get herself out of it rather than being a damsel in distress and waiting for somebody else to get her out of. Actually, did she get herself out of it the first time? I forget.
Complicated. She was kind of the linchpin for defeating Miles' 100 Lives. But no, the very first time she's held hostage, it is Wax who rescues her. Yeah. Although she does impress him with her rifle work.
Yeah, I thought she had learned to maneuver, but anyways, it's nice to see the progression that she gets herself out of it and stops being a damsel in distress. I think that's a nice point there. And we also see kind of Marasi in her internal thoughts really finally realize that Wax is kind of a problem for the constables. Maybe I shouldn't be taking them on extracurricular detective duties and causing more problems.
Yeah, no, like he totally fucks up their investigations. He, presumably contaminates evidence. He's gonna fuck up their cases, right? I mean, like she explains it best in the books, right? But also, even beyond the points that she makes, he's also not that good of a detective.
Right. I mean, he's got chemistry skills and able to do something. Yeah, I mean, he's not completely clueless.
He's not completely clueless. He does have really good intuition, yada.
But we see Marasi kind of dealing with Wax on several different levels. I mean, she's trying to get over this crush that she has on him that we saw.
And the perception of the crush, too. Separate thing, but also important.
She's trying to deal with the fact that she kind of hero worshipped Wax and then realizing that Wax is a problem for the city.
Yeah, don't meet your heroes, kids.
And then she's also kind of dealing with the fact that Wax was probably the reason that she got the job with the constabulary in the first place, even if only partially. She was kind of hired to kind of keep a bead on Wax. And I mean, she kind of sums that up as saying to herself, did everything always have to be about Waxilium? And I just want to say, this is why most people ghost their crushes and not work with them.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Because it's just shit otherwise.
I was about to say, like, hey, there's some commentary on tokenism and, like, hey, even if you think you're doing someone a solid by, we're going to hire this underrepresented, group, when they recognize that, then everybody feels shitty because the person who got skipped over for the job feels skipped over. Marasi, who nominally would benefit from the position, feels undervalued. Is everybody suffers from tokenism.
Yeah. So
don't have token representation.
She's going through a real kind of. She's not the focus of this book, but she is definitely going through some things in this book.
Well, and like she says, it's always about Wax.
And she's learning all the wrong things. I mean, she has no respect for the chain of evidence. She just steals the evidence that Governor Innate was corrupt. She steals the letters from his office, and like, there's no chain of evidence there.
Well, she discusses that, and it was ambiguous as to whether it would be admissible in court or not. But I mean, also, I'm not even sure that I don't know. I have doubts about whether the evidence was even valid or whether it was part of.
And it all doesn't fucking matter anyway, because Innate is dead anyways. I was very glad to see that Marasi made an amazing save without Wax and Wayne at the end.
Which one? So there was also the stopping the assassination attempt. That was an amazing save. even if it wouldn't have ever worked anyway because of...
Well, she screamed. She didn't really...
Didn't she also put up the speed bubble to deflect the shot?
She might have. I don't know. That didn't require a whole lot of brains. The end of the book did require some brains. So she recognizes... So she's watching the Milan as Nate give this speech. Was it? I think it was Milan.
Wait a minute. Don't you hate me?
So she recognizes that she's being soothed. She figures it out. She's able to convince Reddy that he's being soothed. You know, she gets from the rest of the constabulary, even though they all hate her, kind of. She figures out it's Suit who's doing this. She's able to establish where those soothers are and create an ambush. That takes some brains and is awesome. I mean, it's not everybody who can figure out that they're being soothed. So the Suit forces, or the Set forces, and the constabularies converge. Marassi kind of stupidly decides to go into the fray, but she is brilliant in pretending to be injured and play dead. Survival strategy is the best.
Yeah. And
harkening back to Kelsier with Survivor.
Well, and isn't she a survivorist, not a Pathian?
Correct.
Yeah. So, like...
Yeah, so not all heroes... heroes can't...
Not all heroes wear cape.
And they can play dead. They can play dead to their advantage. That's not cowardice.
I believe Douglas Adams said it best, where the better part of valor is discernment, and the better part of discernment is cowardice. So Zaphod Beeblebrox bravely threw himself in the closet.
Forget that there's so many things in those books.
Oh my God, Douglas Adams, such a great... I don't know, I can't go back and reread them. I don't know why, I just don't...
The audiobook is amazing.
The audiobook's amazing? I should do the audiobook then.
Because it's, I don't know, it's that
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, Stephen Fry reads it, so obviously.
Yeah.
And then after that whole Marassi kind of saves the day that way, Arundel gets up the nerve and arrests the fake governor and leads the mob on to arrest 7 more corrupt house lords.
You can say corporate overlords. It's okay. This is a safe place for everybody but them.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate Ardell, or whatever his name is, the Constable General. Let's move on to talking about Steris and Wax.
Steris and Wax.
So, I love Steris and Wax. I maybe wasn't there the first time I read it.
Do you love Steris and Wax, or do you love Steris?
I do love... they're pretty cute together, but definitely more so with Steris. So, not the focus of the book, but there are little moments that I want to make sure that we recognize that happened in this book. We don't get to see a lot of Steris and Wax together in the first book. And we get to see a little bit, because, Steris was kidnapped. We get to see a little bit more of them in this book, but still not a whole lot. So I do want to recognize what there is. So we have lots of examples of Wax caring for Steris and Steris caring for Wax. So let me point out some of those things. So Wax for Steris, there are little tidbits of Steris caring for Wax, and Wax keep being surprised by her. He's really caught off guard in Steris's... Is adoration the right word? I don't know.
I was thinking of the same word, so yes.
Okay. And then we also see Wax become very defensive about Steris. He really doesn't want Wayne to badmouth her, even in contrast to, it's okay for Wayne to question Wax's judgment, but it's not okay to kind of question Steris. He brings her to the party.
When they're going to the party.
He wants to hold Steris's arms and show her off. And he also notices, the very detailed plan and her dress with the fashion that's just perfect to fit in, to be kind of not out of fashion, but not too ostentatious. He notices these small things that she does.
And I don't think this is a Wax caring for Steris or a Steris caring for Wax moment, but I think my favorite moment of those two from those book is when they're allomantically rising up to the party. He's cutting the line, and he's holding on to her and manipulating weight, whatever. The details are unimportant, but the result is that she's melting.
She really loves the Alamac Panther. She really loves being carted.
She was hot and heavy for that one.
And we saw that kind of same reaction, I think, at the end of the book, in book 1.
Yeah.
What I don't get is, obviously Wax does care for Steris, But he expects to find Bleeder, the other, the Khandra, at the party, and then decides to take his betrothed, who is not an Allomancer. So he's purposely bringing her into a very dangerous situation, which
and
I don't really
the
like.
last party that they know that Bleeder went to didn't go for anybody at the party. Everyone died. Yeah, I don't like. I think that's just an error in judgment and risk tolerance.
Well, we don't think much of his risk tolerance, do we?
I was about to say I'm like he's always bringing all of his closest friends into unbelievably dangerous situations. All of them.
Yeah.
He's not a very safe person to be around.
No, he's not.
I mean, things do tend to explode around Wax. Tea's poisoned. Still like that scene from the first book, from Alloy Law. Tea's poisoned. And then the butler blows up the house. But that was the last.
Which kind of reminds me a little bit of Indiana Jones, because there's one of the movies, Indiana is kind of throwing around this poison date, and you just see this whole scene because the audience knows that it's a poison date, and he's just throwing it up and down, talking the whole time. And he's about to pop it in his mouth, and then his best friend catches it and says, "Bad dates."
Yeah.
Because the monkey died. But anyways, kind of similar there.
I'm not sure
but Brandon's allowed to take it a lot further because of Wayne's healing abilities.
I'm not sure if I think Wax is more inspired by Batman or Indiana Jones. I'm kind of feeling Batman with the whole, everything.
I think it was intended to be viewed a lot more like Indiana Jones, though.
I guess I could see it.
Anyways,
on
the flip side, Steris for Wax. So she writes in her journal, Lord Waxillium carries us up to the top floor by allomancy, which is completely inappropriate and at the same time breathtaking. She actually shows him this text. Steris is flirting. Yeah. Not traditional flirting, but flirting in a very Steris way. She pays attention to what Wax likes. Like, she gets him firelight, not electric light, on a number of occasions in this book. And when
the whole epilogue scene where she's comforting him is that is very touching.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't try to talk to him. She's just there for him. Yeah. She is marvelous.
Yeah, and that so good.
And Wax is able to kind of be with her emotionally, unlike everybody else. Like, Wax does cry when he's alone with Steris. That is to say that Marassi has nothing on Steris when it comes to
doesn't have nothing, but at the same time, it's not the
it's a very
Steris is the right choice for Wax.
It's a very different relationship, and I think that's why I think that's why Wayne is having such a difficult time with the idea of Wax marrying Steris, because if you kind of think in contrast to what is Lessie like, I mean, Marassi gets compared to Lessie a lot in the first book. So I think it's very hard on Wayne to see Wax be someone like Lessie and then to do a complete 180 to be with someone like Steris, who's just so different. It's hard to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think that I didn't even think about it from that perspective, but it's still that's I'm sure that's part of why Wayne is upset about the whole Steris Wax arrangement.
Yeah.
Besides it being an arrangement, it's a refutation of he's moving on from Lessie, and he sees Marassi as closer to what their life had been like, and it's not just a refutation of Lessie, but also that whole lifestyle.
I would like to end with a question. Did Harmony know?
Keep your wits about you.
Did Harmony know that it would be kind of a love match between him and Steris? Did he do that on purpose?
I mean, he's so highly invested, and we know that both
that Harmony is,
and yes, and the most invested individual in Cosmere
that we know of.
Yes, no spoilers, but and we know that both Ruin and Preservation, were very fortunate. They both had impressive powers of foresight, right? So I would be shocked if it wasn't something that Preservation or Harmony had foreseen. Whether it made any impact on the decision making, but I mean, I do think that was part of the point, though, is that he wanted Wax to hurt, so that he'd be willing to do the things that Harmony needs.
I'm talking about Steris and Wax.
Wait, why is... What? Where's the divine intervention on Steris?
Well, did he know that, forcing Wax back at that time would lead him to marry Steris? And did he lead things in such a way that he would marry Steris because he knew it would be a love match and kind of like, I don't know, consolation prize? I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said,
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that he intervened in Wax's love life. Like, it's not a crazy thing to suggest that he did it again.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I still don't. I could see the opportunity for Harmony to have intervened. Like, I'm sure with an arranged marriage like that, where there's all sorts of opportunities for a Khandra, a clerk, someone who's a Pathian wearing an earring, right? Get to get a nudge to steer them towards each other. But like I said, I don't know, man. I don't. I'm not gonna say I don't think highly of Harmony because he says it, right? But at the same time, it's also like I don't think Harmony has a great appreciation for love.
That's hard when you're an immortal god.
An immortal god who, before ascending, was also
a eunuch.
Yeah, I was about to say completely celibate. A
he
eunuch.
Had loved though.
Yeah, and he had it torn away from him. Yeah, and that's, I think, a defining moment for him as a character too.
Yeah. Good point.
So anyway, on that happy note, we've been Cosmere. Thanks for podcasting with me, dear.
Thank you for podcasting with me.
And thanks listeners and watchers for listening/watching to us.
And thanks for having this conversation again.
Yeah, right. If you want to talk to us, our email address is cosmerecasual@gmail.com. Our social media handle is cosmerecasual. We're on YouTube. And theoretically, we're on Reddit, but I haven't logged on there in a while. Our intro and outro music is licensed through Tidal Noise. The artist is Ketsa, and the song is Odyssey.
And until next time, keep your wits about you.
Keep your wits about you.